I never thought I'd share this publicly, but sometimes life shakes you in ways that force you to open up. Maybe someone out there is going through something similar, and maybe this will help. It all started one quiet evening. My son, Daniel, had been distant for weeks. He's always been a good kid, polite, respectful, and close to me, even after his father and I separated. But lately, he'd been locking himself in his room, skipping meals, and brushing me off with one-word answers. I told myself it was just teenage mood swings, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Then, one night, everything came crashing down. I was folding laundry when I heard muffled voices coming from his room. Mom. At first, I thought he was just gaming with friends, but then I heard a name that froze my blood. It was Emily. Emily wasn't just anyone. She was my closest friend, the person who stood by me when my marriage ended, the one I trusted most. But hearing my son whisper her name late at night, in that tone, I felt my stomach twist. I told myself I was overthinking, that maybe he was just venting or confiding in her. But the pit in my chest wouldn't go away. The next day, I noticed Daniel's phone buzzing while he was in the shower. I shouldn't have looked. I know that. But a mother's instincts are strong, and something pushed me to pick it up. What I saw shattered me. There were messages, long emotional messages between him and Emily. She was telling him things like, "You understand me better than anyone else, and I can't stop thinking about you." And my son, my sweet boy, was responding with the kind of words no teenager should ever be sending to a woman, almost twice his age. My hands trembled, my chest tightened, I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a nightmare. My best friend, my son, when Daniel came out of the shower, I was sitting on his bed, holding his phone. The look on his face said it all. He went pale, his lips quivered, and for the first time in years, I saw my son truly terrified of me. Not because I was angry, but because he knew he had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. I asked him, barely able to get the words out, "Kyo Daniel, what is this?" At first, he denied it. He said they were just talking, that it was harmless. But I pressed him. And finally, the dam broke. He fell to his knees right there in front of me, sobbing so hard I thought he couldn't breathe. Through broken words, he confessed everything. How lonely he had felt, how Emily started confiding in him about her problems, how she told him things she shouldn't have. He said it made him feel important, seen, wanted. And then his voice cracked as he whispered, "Oh, Mom, I didn't know how to stop. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was torn apart. Part of me wanted to scream, to rage, to storm out, and confront Emily. But another part of me, the mother in me, saw my son broken, ashamed, drowning in guilt. And I realized in that moment that he wasn't just guilty. He was a victim too. A boy pulled into something he should never have been part of. I held him as he cried, and for the first time in weeks, I felt his walls crumble. He told me he hated himself, that he knew he had betrayed me, that he was scared I'd never look at him the same again. I wanted to say the right thing, but the truth is, I was broken too. My heart was split between the betrayal of my friend and the desperate need to protect my son. That night, I sat in my room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment I'd trusted Emily with my family. The laughter, the dinners, the late-night talks. How could someone I considered a sister cross that line with my child? The next morning, I confronted her. She tried to spin it, to say it was harmless, that I was overreacting. But the messages told a different story, and so did the tears on my son's face. I ended that friendship on the spot. It's been months since that night, but the memory still burns. Daniel is in therapy now, and we're slowly rebuilding trust. Some days are harder than others. Sometimes I still catch the guilt in his eyes when he looks at me, and sometimes I wonder if I failed him, if I should have seen it sooner. But here's what I've learned. Betrayal cuts deep, but silence cuts deeper. If your child is pulling away, if something feels wrong, don't ignore it. Lean in, ask questions. Protect them even if it hurts, because as painful as that night was, I'm grateful it happened when it did. I'd rather face the truth and help my son heal than live in the dark, pretending everything was fine. And to any parent listening to this, don't ever underestimate the influence people can have on your children, even those you trust the most. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing it because I know how isolating it feels to be betrayed, to feel torn between anger and love, between justice and forgiveness. My son broke down in tears that night, and in his tears, I saw not just his guilt, but his cry for help. And as a mother, I knew I couldn't turn away. So no, our story isn't perfect. It's messy. It's painful, but it's real. And if you take anything from this, let it be this. Listen to your instincts, hold your loved ones close, and never be afraid to face the truth, no matter how much it hurts. Because healing begins the moment you stop hiding